One thing I like about the solo queue is that people on both teams are a lot more willing to chat. So here I am just kind of BSing about peanut butter with my teammates. In the team queue, I noticed that people kind of only tend to talk amongst their own clan. Um, so, you know, if you have maybe 3 or 4 people in a lance that you drop with, you'll kind of only wind up getting to talk to those 3 or 4 people, and that's about it. You know, if you type anything in all chat or team chat or whatever, it kind of gets ignored, unless it's, you know, serious business or something. I'm sure there are clans out there that are exceptions to the rule, but that was kind of what I ran into with this. Whereas with the solo queue, people will kind of, you know, BS about whatever. They're not all like that, of course, but it's usually more fun. So it gives you something to do when you're just kind of marching toward the center or wherever you're going to meet.
Affirmative.
And I have to apologize for the FPS display and the recording notification that popped up at the beginning. Those might still show up in my next couple of videos, just because I'd already recorded those. I think I've gotten rid of them, but if the settings I changed didn't work, I may not even have time until after the holidays to really delve into it and see what's causing that to suddenly appear in my recordings. So apologies if you have to see that for a while. But back to the map. I jumped up there for for no particular reason. I just, like I've said before, I don't often play mechs with jump jets, and so sometimes I just have fun with them. And this one comes stock with, I think, 4 jump jets, so it's pretty easy to get to the top of that building. And normally I'm playing playing from this perspective, you know, just sitting down here. And then with this being skirmish, the fight's gonna be pretty intense, and it's all going to center around this one spot. And I apologize to my Atlas buddy there, because I'm pretty sure I just burned a hole through his leg. These heavy medium lasers, I've shown them before, you know, they have a slow burn time, but they deal a lot of damage. And I have 10 of them, you know, 5 in each arm. Or sorry, 8 of them, 4 in each arm. And so this mech has a really, really strong 1-2 punch. You know, it'll just drill a hole through most anything if they don't move or torso twist or something. The downside is, of course, you know, it's very, very hot and it's pretty short range. You can see my range is 300 meters optimal, which is just not very much.
Target spotted.
As I recall, the match is a lot of peeking like this. We kind of stay in this position most of the time, which is pretty bad. This is just not a position that you want to be in. You're really much better off doing what the enemy team is doing, you know, and coming around the citadel to try and flank your enemy. You know, they've got a lot more options for attacking, and it really allows them to pincer us, whereas we're kind of having to react and try to cluster into a small area.
New target acquired. New target acquired.
So I think the positioning has a lot to do with, you know, how this match is going right now. I mean, they're already up 3 kills over us. However, since they're closing in for whatever reason, I mean, most of them seem to have long range enough builds that they don't really have to close in like this. But they do, you know, just decide to get right around these corners. And so my short range weapons are able to start doing some work.
New target acquired. Warning.
Now, the match has been going on for a little while, but I am very, very torn up. I got 1 kill out of that, but man, look what it did to my legs and my side torso. You know, I mean, I've practically lost both of those already.
5%.
So, you know, at this point, I'm like, I have to go run and hide. I don't want to stay in this spot, but I do want to just kind of get out of everyone's line of sight and just make them forget about me for a little bit.
Critical.
And then when I poke out, I lose a leg and an arm. So on a Nova, that means half my firepower is gone. I no longer have a 1-2 punch, I just have a 1 punch. It's still pretty strong though. I mean, those heavy medium lasers, I think they deal about 10 damage apiece if they do their full burn. So I decide that, you know, I'm probably screwed here. I'm just gonna poke out and see what kind of damage I can deal. And I swing my laser over 2 targets and kill them both in one shot. I'm not sure that I've ever done that before in MechWarrior Online. You know, usually to get multiple kills, you've got to fire multiple weapons. And if you look at my display there, the only part of my mech that had armor left was the head. You know, so I was pretty beaten up by the time I went down. Now in the meantime, we did get enough kills that, you know, it looks like we could actually come back from this.
Critical.
You know, and the Wolfhound Grinner is a very solid mech. The Marauder 2CD is not really my favorite variant of it. And I don't, you know, I've said before a few times I don't like long-range missiles, but I actually do like this person's setup. They have, you know, a couple of ultra autocannon 10s and a heavy medium laser to back up those LRMs. So they're not defenseless when somebody underruns them.
Critical damage. Counter-torso. Critical.
In any case, we've only got 2 guys left. They do actually do some work.
Incoming.
You know, he just took down that Uziel, and I think our Marauder will get another kill here as well.
Warning.
But at this point, it's just a little too far gone. I mean, we did a lot of damage considering how far behind we were. You know, I guess we had just beaten up enough of them that even though we were down in numbers, I think at one point it was like 2 versus 7 in their favor. You know, we were still able to come back and get quite a few more kills.
Damage. Incoming missile.
I don't know what that LRM shot was supposed to do. I mean, it was point blank, and it looked like they just kind of went up into the sky.
Target acquired.
And it almost looks like he can get that Blood Asp. I mean, that Blood Asp is cored. You know, he's just ready to die, but unfortunately Marauder's legs are gone.
Critical damage.
So I congratulate our enemies on a good fight, because it really was a nice fight. They don't often go like that when you're losing. So I got 3 kills. I did decent damage, especially to Atlas's leg. But I really soaked a lot of damage for a 50-ton mech, you know, over 600 damage. We didn't get the miracle comeback it looked like we might have at one point, but I really liked our team chat, and especially that double kill.